G'day everyone, it's Justin Flitter here from PlayBooks. I'm super excited that you could join us for today's little webinar. Today we are joined by Sarah Walker from Epplett & Co. in the Hawke's Bay. Sarah is a chartered accountant and a business advisor to businesses all across the country. Sarah, how are you? Welcome to the show. It's so awesome to have you here.
Hey Justin, how are you going today?
Cool. So tell us a little about you, where you are in New Zealand, and what you do to help businesses grow.
Okay, I'm one of the directors at Epplett & Co. in Hawke's Bay. So we're based in Hastings, and I've been here back in Hawke's Bay, born and raised, and so we've got a fairly broad client base across New Zealand. Got some clients overseas, but most of those have a predominant sort of association with Hawke's Bay, whether they lived here, grew up here, or they have business here in Hawke's Bay.
So you're a trusted advisor, helping businesses grow. What sort of things are you typically helping with? Is it accounting based? What sort of things do you typically help clients with?
Yeah, I guess generally we've probably been predominantly compliance focused in terms of end-of-year accounts, tax returns, and that sort of thing. Since COVID, I've seen a huge change in that, and so now we've been advising people in terms of business buying and selling, looking at investments and things like that, properties, and I guess looking at how can they manage their COVID impact, as well as resetting what they're going to do and move forward. So I ran a number of webinars over the last few months on things like business recovery, business continuity planning, and trying to get businesses back on board and looking towards the future and maybe changing things up there soon.
And what's kind of the feeling with your client group? Are they feeling quite anxious at the moment? Are they optimistic for as we kind of move out, or hopefully moving out of sort of COVID restrictions? Certainly, rest of the country, but New Zealand's, Auckland's still in level 2. What's the feeling within your client group at the moment?
Yeah, in Hawke's Bay, I mean, a lot of them have moved back to very largely business as usual. I mean, look, we've had some people refining what they're doing, whether they're deciding not to go back to 5 days a week and changing up what they're doing, or whether they're looking at expanding and growing, which is obviously the ones looking at buying other businesses, or I guess changing their base there, sort of to try and protect a bit more against events in the future. Those around the country have been a bit more restricted, but I guess overall there's fair amount of optimism, although some amount of frustration still. So around those that actually can't get back out there, the restrictions on that, not being able to get about the country or overseas, and and there are some clients that are still not back to work, so in different industries, so which has been really challenging.
So what sorts of companies do you typically work with? Is it pretty broad based, or is it,
Yeah, no, I was going to say a huge broad race. We've got trade and construction, and we've got a lot of rentals, investment, commercial property, that sort of thing. In Hawke's Bay, we've got I guess the farmer agri-base, that sort of horticultural side as well. And then I guess around the rest of the country, we're dealing with people in all manner. So from retail to cafes and things like that as well. So.
Yeah, and so we're here to talk about PlayBooks, which is super exciting. We launched a couple of weeks ago, so it's really amazing to see people in the platform running meetings with really clear agendas and action items. Meetings for you are going to be a really key ingredient to running the business, your own business cadence, but also how you actually help work with your clients to facilitate their business success. So what are some of the kind of keys to success, sort of the words of advice that you've got around running successful meetings?
So I guess things have changed a lot around how meetings have been done. I guess if you were to ask me this time last year, I would have said, the client comes in, we go sit down at the boardroom table and we have a bit of a chat. I might bring up stuff on the big screen or write on the whiteboard. I guess this year we've done a lot more online, similar to our conversation now where we're talking online. And sometimes We are doing that even in the boardroom still, but through like a Zoom type meeting as well. That said, a lot of clients still are enjoying that personal contact, whether I'm going off to see them at their premise or they're coming here to see us. I guess things have become more flexible. And I guess the key of running the good meeting is, I guess, having some idea or agenda set as to what you're going to cover off. I got sort of trapped with one of my Zoom meetings is that during COVID we could have kind of an open-ended meeting, and now they've restricted that back to 40 minutes. So trying to be a bit concise and get what you can through there as well. And then I guess making sure that you, I guess, take good notes and action points around decisions and things like that. I guess one of the traps with meetings is having a big amazing discussion and then going, okay, so what's next, and not really making that sort of plan for when are we meeting next, or who's doing what, and then everyone walks away and goes, oh, so what was I supposed to be doing? So yeah.
So what drew you to PlayBooks, and how has using the PlayBooks meeting platform helped you deliver, run better meetings?
Yeah, so I guess as I said, traditionally we would have probably, like I said, had a piece of paper and our trusty pen, and we would have sat down and written some notes and then gone back and reflected on that and gone back and typed an email up or written a memo and that sort of thing. Since I got a bit more mobile computer a few years ago, so I've got a Surface Pro, I would take that into meetings and type some notes while I had it. Found that could be a little bit distracting, but also then it was a matter of where did I save my minutes, or where did I put them, and how did they get to the client in the right format. So when I spoke to Greg and found out about what he was doing with PlayBooks, I've done some software testing before, and I said, well, pick me, I'd be keen to test it. I hate paper. Get it out of my office. And so, yeah, look at something that's going to be in the cloud that I can share with my clients, that can basically be where I want it to be at the right time.
So now you're setting up meetings for your clients. You'll be able to set those really clear agenda points. You can create action items and assign them to different people so that those are, tasks that are created. And then your clients are going through and ticking off the action points as they get done, or is it kind of reviewed in the next meeting what's been completed and what's happened? What's kind of that follow-up process that generally happens?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, having the action items is really good because then they can see really clearly what there is. Being able to share that sort of link with them, and they can go in and look at what there is, what was agreed. I guess I'm always keen for book a meeting from a meeting. So, when's our follow-up, when we need to, touch base on these sorts of things. So whether that's weekly, monthly, quarterly, I've managed to schedule some of those in there. And I guess the thing is that you're not always going to have that agenda up front. And I guess that's probably why the product's quite flexible, when you can just add items on the fly to the agenda. I mean, I've had clients turn up recently who wanted a meeting, and I got popped in my diary, and I was no idea why they're arriving. And then I was like, oh, I think we need to take some minutes from this. And we need to record some actions. I thought they might have been coming in for a general chat or to drop stuff off. And so I jumped in and pulled up my playbooks. And I guess that was exciting because they'd booked the meeting through my Calendly app, and they were sitting there already for that time to go and record my meeting items. So that was, that was pretty big win for me. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned Calendly, which is the first integration that we've got. So Calendly is this awesome scheduling service. So we all use it, and it's so Calendly works by sharing a link with your client, and they can then jump into the website to pick a time. And so instead of all of that backwards and forth going on, trying to organize when you're going to catch up with someone, they can see your availability and then pick a time that suits, right? So with Calendly, when someone schedules a meeting with you, it automatically populates into PlayBooks, creating a client and creating a meeting within that client, which is so seamless. So you don't have to do that little admin setup as you go. And hopefully, as we build out this functionality, we'll be able to have things like setting your agendas. So when someone schedules that meeting with you, they can type in what kind of the key things are that they want to discuss, and it would auto-populate with a few other different things. But it's a really nice, it works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And like I've tested a couple of things. It was really easy to set up, and so and you're right. The to and fro with the clients trying to find the right time, whether it was with me or with reception, which would probably be the normal method that someone would book a meeting, or emails flying backwards and forwards. Now I can just send them the link, or they can go onto that Calendly page and choose whether it's a 30 or a 60-minute, whether it's a training session, for example, and then book the appropriate time. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's really awesome. Now, one of the other awesome features in PlayBooks is the ability to see the public library of plays. So this expertise, this expert advice that people have written and shared with the community. So these plays that you can drop into meetings to inform or evaluate or look at a process. So instead of having to follow up after a meeting and run around trying to find the person who knows that information, you can have your company knowledge base, or you can look at the company or the public library rather, to drop in a play to inform that. So, are you using the company that public library to drop in things? Because as a trusted advisor, I guess you can't know everything, right? So there's always going to be something where you kind of go, I'm not really sure about Google AdWords, or whether we should be doing a LinkedIn campaign, or even something like influencer marketing that MediaWorks have published around playbooks around that. But it gives you that ability to drop that into the meeting, right?
Yeah, sure. And as I've mentioned, we've got a fairly broad client base, and I guess one of the things we pride ourselves on is having, I guess, those other advisors or partners that we can sort of leverage with and bring in to provide like a really holistic service to our clients. And so I guess the public playbooks information so far is looking really good, being able to categorize it by industry type and type of device and that sort of thing as well. I haven't had a great chance to pull a lot of them in yet into the types of meetings I've been having. I guess, a lot of them have probably come out of COVID, and whilst there's a few things in there, I guess, it's probably those looking forward things and I guess scope that you normally wouldn't cover. I guess as accountants move more into that advisory space, being able to have those questions there to go on and start those right conversations is really important. So, and I guess I may think differently to some other accountants, but I don't know. But having those sorts of questions there front of mind is really good, particularly if it's an industry, for example, or a question that the client's asked you that you've never really answered before. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really unique way to bring expertise into the meeting that you wouldn't normally have. So look, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me this morning. It's been so interesting to meet you and find out about the work that you're doing to help New Zealand businesses grow. I think it's really exciting that you are part of the PlayBooks community. Thank you so much for helping us to shape the product, and I'm sure you'll continue to do so for a long time. Yeah, it's your feedback is so important, and it's really nice to meet you. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Justin.